It's everyone's favorite season. No, not the Super Bowl, but that's cool too. It's legislative session in Arizona, and guess what? We've got issues. Things are different this time around in Arizona. Katie Hobbs, a Democrat, won her election in November, was inaugurated in January, and this is the first time in 20 years that Arizona has elected a Democratic governor. At the same time, we still have a Republican, but just barely majority in both houses in the legislature. This is uncharted territory for a lot of people, especially since the last time this happened, the first Avatar movie was in theaters. No, not that one. Yeah, that one. Some legislators are trying to keep doing their thing and pretending everyone wants the extremist Arizona that they want. Others are actually trying to feel out what bipartisan governance looks like. The legislature has wasted no time in making it clear that they're not here for the people. There's a grip of anti-drag, anti-voter, and anti-worker bills introduced and working their way through the legislative process. Senators Corrupt Paul Blart and Senator Show Me Your Genitals are leaning in hard against the fabulous, talented drag performers of Arizona. Among others, SB 1030, SB 1028, and SB 1026 moved through the state Senate, all bills criminalizing drag in one way or another. Not only is this giving obsessed, it's also a huge waste of time because Governor Hobbs has already said she's a friend of the she's, theys, and gays. She's going to veto all of these bills, like on site. We're going to do our best at We've Got Issues to keep you up to date on the chaos, and we'll kick it to our partners and friends at other organizations to give you some of the heavier details. As you know, we're the rent is too high baddies, and we're watching the legislature for bills that bring down rent, get people housing, and extend tenant rights. SB 1117, a hefty bipartisan bill, passed out of the Senate, and it brings both good and bad proposals to address the housing crisis. What we like about this bill is that it has the beginnings of tenants' rights, including longer eviction timelines for mobile homeowners and legalizing casitas for our nanas. It still isn't doing enough to keep people in their homes, though, and we really want to see more resources going into rental assistance, into expanding eviction timelines, and holding corporate landlords accountable. It's early enough that we can still change this bill and that amendments can go through on it, but for now we're keeping an eye on it at the legislature. There are more bills that have been introduced, including ones that remove hidden fees for renters and source of income discrimination by landlords and give mobile home owners money to move. But we're waiting for those to come out of the legislature. It looks like they've been assigned for committee next week. Of course, it wouldn't be Arizona without some solid voter suppression attempts. Despite Governor Hobbs being crystal clear about vetoing any bad bills that make it to her desk, both the Senate and House elections committees have put up bills that push the big lie and gaslight voters into thinking that there's fraud in our elections. HB 1324 forces election officials to publish ballot images, names, and street addresses. This is a huge violation of privacy and opens the floodgates for extremist doxing. Never mind that the Secretary of State won Maricopa County Recorder because Helen Purcell did exactly this and he called her out for it. This would open up Arizonans for identity theft and public harassment from alt-right extremists. SCR 1002 would ask voters to restrict their own direct democracy powers by requiring a supermajority, that's more than 60%, of voters to vote on constitutional amendments. The bill is motivated by majority lawmakers increasing frustration with measures that they don't like getting written into law. Don't forget, some of the things that we were able to pass through the ballot initiative is legalize marijuana, higher minimum wage, and in-state tuition for undocumented students. These are all great bills, extremely popular, and just because it's not being used by extremists and is now being used on people-first policy, the legislature wants to strip it of all of its power. These aren't the only bad bills. The Conspiracy Theorist Caucus at the legislature is using ballot referrals to get around the governor's veto pen on their really bad voter rights bills. We're going to be paying extra special attention to those this year at the legislature. Join us at South Mountain Community College on February 16th. We'll be showing mini documentaries by local filmmakers and having a panel on video in the movement. Thank you to our partners Indie Film Fest and Mecha the SMCC for making this happen. Thank you for watching Season 4, Episode 1 of We've Got Issues, a Fuerte Network production. Shout out to the People First Economy and the Voting Rights Coalition for research and expertise. Check out our Instagram at FuerteAZ for ways to get involved and calls to action on bad bills to speak up against. Writing by Clarissa Rodriguez and Senia Orona. Filming done by Clarissa Rodriguez. Editing done by Clarissa Rodriguez and Senia Orona. Graphics by Senia Orona. Theme music by Dominic Medina. The thoughts and opinions expressed on We've Got Issues do not necessarily represent the Fuerte Arts movement.